They want to get away from the point of hearing from a customer and then responding to the customer and said, this is what's happening in the system, and we're already on top of it and working on it. And that's what the utilities are looking for.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to spend a few minutes talking about water distribution system management. Now, as a lot of us know, managing the distribution system today involves a little bit more than just metering. Utilities are going beyond the meter, and they're looking at pressure monitoring data. They're looking at water quality, in some cases temperature, water loss. They're monitoring all of this to really get a good idea of the behavior of the system, what's going on, and really as a way to help them manage the system in real time. So to help me go through some of these trends, I have an excellent guest joining me. I'd like to welcome in Joe DeVito, Senior Manager of Utility Solutions with Badger Meter. And Joe, you have a ton of experience in this industry on the distribution side in particular. And so I really can't wait to dig into some of these areas with you. Maybe you could start by addressing just some of the things I was talking about in my intro there about utilities, as I mentioned, going beyond the meter and looking at water pressure and quality and kind of looking at some of these areas simultaneously. Is that sort of a trend that you're seeing? And feel free to walk us through any other major trends like that you're seeing industry wide.
Yeah, Andrew, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. And yes, to start out with, the simple answer is yes. What's really happened over the years is there has always been a little bit of a separation for what was happening in the distribution system, what was happening in the treatment side, and then customer service was kind of in the middle of like, please help us. And what's really happening is we're all coming together. The silos are being broken down in the entire industry and realizing that the meter and the AMI network that is being used to read those meters can give you a lot more information about what's going on in a distribution system. A distribution system can be anything from a single square mile to 700 square miles. And what happens to that water as it travels through the distribution system, and how can that information come back in so the utilities can make proactive decisions? Because that's what they want to do now. In this day and age, people are looking for more information. They know that information is available, so let's get that information to them. There's also an amazing amount of cost reduction and efficiency in using online monitoring versus sending somebody out there to pull a water sample and see what's happening or waiting for a customer to call in. So the utilities are embracing this. They're looking for this. They're asking for it, whether it's water quality, water pressure, water loss. Temperature is something that really helps in very cold environments. Think about a scenario of where somebody's meter is in their basement and we have the ability to do ambient temperature around the meter itself, the water, what the temperature is. And somebody went away, furnace doesn't work, the basement's starting to get cold. And if they're using an online app, they can get a notification, hey, your basement is getting close to 32 degrees and freezing. It's a small example of how it goes beyond the water and connects with the customer.
Yeah, and that actually leads nicely into my next question, which is, can you give us another example, just sort of along those lines? Take for example, water consumption data and pressure. How would those two things, being able to monitor those two things simultaneously, how would that be advantageous for the utility?
Yeah, they really do go hand in hand. If you think about the aspect of water quality and water consumption in capacity needs, we'll just talk that example here. So, if water is moving quickly in a pipe because capacity is up, usage is up, then in an aging infrastructure, it could pick up a little bit of sediment. It could change the color, the properties of the water. And by having online water quality tools in place and pressure monitors in place, they can be reactive and they can deal with that before it reaches the customers. On the other side of that, you have an area or a system that is very big with tourism, and they get this spike in certain times of the year, and other times of the year, the flow is way down, and you get water age. Water age reduces the disinfection products that are used, and being able to monitor them, it allows them again to react quickly and to go out and maybe put a flushing program in place so that the customers that are there full time don't see a degradation in their quality. And that's really how the two of them work hand in hand.
Joe, I want to switch gears just a little bit and ask you about cellular technology. Now, a lot of what we're talking about, these different types of data that utilities are monitoring for, the pressure, the consumption, they're getting this data from sensors and connected devices all across the utility. And one way that utilities can manage all that is through a utility network, and cellular technology is one way that makes that connectivity possible. So talk a little bit about the benefits of cellular technology, if you will, and in particular some of the utility systems that may benefit from that type of technology.
So the industry, Badger Meter, has absolutely moved towards cellular, fixed network versus cellular. Cellular gives the utility the ability to deploy anywhere within their system without having to worry about putting up infrastructure and maintaining infrastructure over time. It has the bandwidth to handle extensibility as we add systems to it. We don't have to worry about whether or not the radio network can handle it. The cellular network can do that. The cell companies have embraced this type of communication and have really given us a platform that allows it very simple and easy for utilities to do that. And the way it can be done, it's a network as a service. And the person that's responsible for that network are the cell companies, and that's all they do. All Badger does is water. All they do is communication. Why not put the two of us together and give the utilities the greatest platform they could be looking for?
Joe, before we finish up here, I'd really like to ask you, which I think is a good question to wrap up on, is to ask you about your time with a public utility. So you have over 30 years working in the public utility sector, both on the water distribution and collection system side. So I guess just in your mind, what are the major evolutions that you've seen over the years in terms of utility management? I know we talk a lot about technology being a major theme, but what stands out to you as some of the major trends and how things have evolved as far as utility management in the last 30 years or so?
Well, absolutely. More data, more accessible, and giving it to more people within the utility and outside. I mean, not having a consumer engagement application where you can directly communicate with your users, the end users in this case. I mean, we're talking about the cell service is the way to do this communication. Everybody has a cell phone, so why not have that engagement on their cell phone and the ability to reach out to them if something happens? A vehicle accident that happens to knock out a fire hydrant, which is going to affect water quality and pressure. So you got pressure monitors out there that have detected that. You can quickly notify people that something happening, and that's what they're looking for. They want to get away from the point of hearing from a customer and then responding to the customer and said, this is what's happening in the system and we're already on top of it and working on it. And that's what the utilities are looking for. They want to be proactive. They want to be efficient in what they do because they understand what they're delivering people consume each and every day. And that's something that they have a lot of respect for, and they want to make sure they understand what it is they're getting in that way. And like I said, on the collection side, it really goes into the environment. We have the ability to monitor what's happening, what's being discharged in the environment. We got to clean up our streams, our waterways, our ponds, our lakes. And all of that is possible by utilizing some sort of a sensor network within the cellular system to look at what's going on.
Yeah, that's great stuff, Joe. And I wish we had a few more minutes to talk about some more of that. But thanks again for joining us today for a couple minutes to give your great insight. I really appreciate it. And with that, we'll look forward to seeing everyone else on the next edition of Water Finance Management Conversations. For Joe DeVito with Badger Meter, I'm Andrew Farr. We'll see you all next time.
Subscribe to Water Finance and Management's YouTube page and visit waterfm.com for the latest water industry news and insight.